Minneapolis Police Chief Harteau, and this is what she has to say now into a bank of microphones today. Here she is.
I have to say,
No, that's not her. This is her. Okay. Ready? All right, folks. Sometimes we have a snafu here, but this is, again, the chief of police in Minneapolis with heartfelt conviction, but a lot of people thought this was premature because there's still an ongoing investigation, but she seems pretty resolved in what she has to say.
These were the actions and judgment of one individual. I want to assure Justine's family, our community, and those in Australia that I will do everything in my power to make sure due process is followed and justice is served.
Well, there you go. And I'm sure that's it's got to be somewhat of a comfort to the family of Justine Damon. Basically, she said didn't have to die. Didn't have to die. Justine Damon didn't have to die, says Minneapolis Chief in her first words on the shooting. And it seems like the Wild West. It seems like there was a noise. We still, some of that, what the noise was, they didn't know what the noise was. It's just the officer on the driver's side, Noor, got his gun out of the holster and just started shooting out the window and killed her. She got shot in the abdomen. And Harteau said that she had not spoken out on the shooting until yesterday because she was on vacation and had little cell phone coverage. So a lot of people have asking, where the chief is. Where's the chief in the Minneapolis area on vacation? No cell phone coverage. And this is reported the St. Paul Pioneer Press. For a chief, she says this is a nightmare, not only to have an event like this occur, but she said not to be there. But I assure everyone in this community that there wasn't anything that didn't get done, said Harteau. Harteau said that the focus on the investigation should fall on Noor, promising that the Damon family justice in this case. She immediately rejected claims of former Minnesota U.S. Representative Michelle Bachmann that the employment of Noor, who is a Somali American, was an affirmative action hire to the Tribune. And to me, that's a little far-reaching to try to play that card, and I think that's very unfair at this time right now, and that's got to be a political move from U.S. Representative Michelle Bachmann. I think it's very unfair to say that right now, but the Star Tribune reported on this, talking about the nationality of a Somali American, Noor, the officer that shot Justine Damon. But she goes on. The chief says this is about an individual officer's actions. Harteau said it's not about race or ethnicity, and I'd have to side with the chief on that. It's people claw. They try to find reasons why, suspects why, and why aggravate that anymore with the tensions right now with ethnicities in our country, and to play the race card and debate races against each other or Somali Americans against. There's too many folks in our military and our police departments in our country that are as American as I am. Their skin might be browner than me, and that's fine with me. I could care less. There's no judgment here. I'm all for cracking down on the borders. I'm all for making sure that there's accountability, and I still think that people should be legal. It's just me. But not to try to derail anymore, but she just says this is about an individual. We should focus on him, and this is not about race or ethnicity. We have to be very robust with our training and hiring processes. This officer completed the training very well, just like every other officer. He was very suited to be on the street. Harteau said that she hopes Noor will eventually talk to investigators. He's not doing that right now. He's remaining silent, and still noting the Pioneer Press that's been covering this very, very closely. She says, I would prefer Officer Noor would speak, whether it be to our internal processes here at the police station or to BCA, but there are questions that need to be answered. What spooked him? What provoked him to react that way with the loud noise? You can theorize a lot of things, but exactly what was going inside of his mind, the guy's not talking. We have no idea what the heck was going inside the officer's mind, and I don't know if lawyers advised him to just say nothing until there's a court hearing. I have no idea. I mean, I would wonder if Nord, wasn't thinking that somebody was trying to get up in the, or to the squad car and shoot him or shoot his partner and, shoot or be shot kind of a thing. Flight or flight, one or the other, fight or flight, just take off. But at this point, you're in a cop car. Who knows if they had the bulletproof glass? I mean, that's a question that I would ask. I mean, what was going on in the mind? And the problem is right now still, we don't know what was going on. He's not talking. A lot of people just saying, hey, this officer's got to have something that he's hiding. But again, maybe he has to be quiet. I mean, the crime has been committed. She's dead and he's alive. If he really dreamed about being an officer, like he said, his whole life, wanted to serve and protect, maybe he really wants to protect his position on the force or being a police officer for the rest of his life, because let's face it, officers go to hearings all the time. And if, that's what your trade, your profession is, you're going to want to keep your position. You don't want to be barred permanently from, being on the police department. However, if you're found at fault for doing something and acting hastily and overreactionary, which has happened in several cases around the country where officers just start blazing with their guns. But I don't think that at this time right now we still really have every single fact there is. But I think that there's more questions than anything. The webcam, the dash cam, that's supposed to be standard operating procedure, and that wasn't followed. Why that wasn't followed, I have no idea. But people are watching this very, very closely, and I think that every jurisdiction should follow the story and implement things and get things in tip-top order around the country to make sure that the police departments around our country are not doing more damage than good. And protecting themselves. I think every officer's car should be outfitted with bulletproof glass, bulletproof doors, whatever it takes to protect the officers that are serving us. So they're not fearing that somebody's going to blast them with a gun when they're sitting in their patrol car. How disturbing. And maybe that was Noor's thought, the loud noise. Somebody was coming up and was going to do something to the officer. But again, who knows what he was thinking? Maybe he didn't get enough sleep. What spooked him so bad? What did he think the noise was? Again, what's so bizarre, the guy won't even talk to his own administrative people there at the police department. He won't talk to his folks. He's just nothing. Mum's the word. I don't know if it's a thing because of his ethnicity. He feels like he's going to be wrongfully accused of something, maybe i.e. terrorism or judgmental because of this. I mean, again, just a lot of unknowns right now. But we're going to be watching the story. And but it thought it was very, very nice that the chief of police seemed to put a little easement, I guess, on people's emotions there in the city, and also the family just grieving and trying to figure out what some of the next moves are going to be and whether or not justice is going to serve itself. But she seems to be pretty adamant that in her words, justice didn't have to die. Those were the first public words from Minneapolis Police Chief Jane Harteau on the Justin Damon, 40-year-old Australian woman who was shot and killed by Minneapolis police officers responding to a 911 call by Damon herself. So based on the publicity released information from BCA, this should not have happened. And again, Harteau, if you're just joining us, told reporters yesterday evening, last night, referring to the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, which is investigating the shooting at the request of the Minneapolis police. The publicity released information isn't too detailed at the moment. But she called 911 twice shortly before 11:30 p.m. to report what she believed might have been a woman being raped in the alleyway behind her house in South Minneapolis. So Officer Matthew Harteau drove his squad vehicle with the lights off as he and Officer Muhammad Noor headed down to the alley behind the 5000 block of the Washburn Avenue South. And this is according to what Harteau told BCA investigators. There was a loud noise, and then Damon approached Harteau's side of the vehicle. Noor opened fire across Harteau and through the driver's side window, fatally striking Damon, and she was unarmed. She didn't have a gun. She didn't have a weapon. And that was enough for Harteau. Harteau acknowledged it was a rare for a chief to speak so strongly so early in the investigation into an officer's conduct. Rare, but each situation is different, and I can certainly speak on what the public knows, she said. The death of justice should not have happened. Harteau's remarks came so many days after the shooting because she was on vacation, again, backpacking in what she called a remote mountainside area with only sporadic cell phone coverage. So she says for a chief, coming back to all of this, she says a complete nightmare for her city, not only to have the event like this to occur, but not to be here. And she's again adamant that justice is going to be served. But I've mentioned on the show, it brings up the Michael Funk case for so many of you in Wisconsin, where guns came blazing and shot the hostage, and not the guy who was holding him up, Michael Fladoff. You can read that in the Nina or the Appleton paper. But man, what a terrible thing that happens. And they're human beings. Human error happens. We're not perfect as human beings. It might be different because maybe there was nothing sinister in his heart. But certainly at the Nina Police Department, unfortunately, they shot the wrong guy, man. It's just horrible. But we're going to be watching this, seeing what he has to say, what Noor is going to say, and hopefully he'll speak up and fess up, because I think the more that he remains quiet like this, at least from my perspective, if I was a family member and I was looking for answers to find out why he shot over his partner from the loud noise, the police reached over with his gun right over his partner and through the door, and then into this lady who was not armed, and just shot her. It just was such a bizarre course of events. I mean, she tried to help somebody, a woman that reportedly was being raped in the alleyway. She's trying to do good, calls 911 twice to report it, to try to save somebody, and she gets killed by doing something good. Well, I'd have to say for her, it was an honorable thing that she did. And if you were going to do something at the end of your life, and what you were doing was trying to save somebody else, that's pretty heroic. So I guess thinking about it from that standpoint, if your loved one ends up shot and trying to save her, and it was a perfect stranger, she didn't even know who the person was, I would say that would give you a really nice entrance into heaven, if not a good one, if you weren't a perfect person. But to all accounts, this lady that got shot was a model citizen, salt of the earth kind of person, known as a healer, a spiritual lady, loved people, taught yoga, and very, very friendly. But it seems like, only the good die young. It's a Billy Joel tune. But it's just, again, a tough one. There's nothing you can really say to loved ones that are grieving somebody's death. You try to say things saying, I'm sorry for your loss, but, it takes time to take it all in. But you do have questions. And I can certainly tell you that there's going to be some kind of lawsuit action